Mm. As I sit here and I consume all of this lovely content about sports betting and football and sports betting and WNBA and sports betting and MLB because dongs matter too, I can't help but to touch on one topic: the tush push. As you see from the title, tush push, stop bitching. I've never seen this many grown men, professional athletes, former athletes, media personalities, hell, people like me that just hop on a platform and offer my opinion, complain, or rather, I'm going to put it as bitching about a football play. As a big man, I've played the running back position, I played the tight end position, two things that I did pretty well at. Obviously, not well enough to not be sitting in front of you gambling on the motherfucker, but well enough nevertheless. And there's one thing that I learned very young. There's one thing that I know now as I teach my son how to play the game and help coach his team and push them in ways that, only like-minded athletes can do. And I remind them that football is won in the trenches. First issue with the bitching about the tush push. You know what? I'm going to do a little different. Let's talk about the things that I feel are valid about the tush push. Now, you motherfuckers starting early, that needs to be called. That's not on the Eagles. That's on the referees. However, we know that for the most part, the referees have been an issue for the last decade. And also, the referees have, what year was that? Did we experience a referee strike where we had high school referees taking extra options so they can make some extra coin in the NFL? Didn't we have to go through that as fans at one point? More specifically, them as players. But anyway, the first issue with the tush push would be to get the false start correct. I think that should be reviewable, and I don't see why that can't be a mid-season change because there's no way you guys are going to get that right on the fly. It is what it is. On the opposite side of that, the Eagles, I want to say since 2023, have 101 quarterback sneak conversions. All of that is probably not the tush push, but 101 quarterback sneak conversions. Let me know one thing that lets me know that most of the teams that encounter the Eagles do not have a defensive push that is able to compete muscle for muscle, bone for bone, bare knuckle energy against the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles. In a simpler, more in a simpler, less sensitive time in life, most of those boys on the defensive line would have been told to man up, if not all of them. Granted, most quarterbacks aren't squatting what Jalen squats. Most running backs aren't squatting what Saquon squats. Most quarterbacks that are built like that are not going up over the top of gargantuan sets of men that are able to put men in position on the line that are physically built better than the typical style of men on that line. Since the Eagles have a very diverse array of guards and tackles playing on that line. But I digress. There's no reason. I take that back. There's always a reason. However, let me just tell you, motherfuckers, one thing that are bitching and complaining about this. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a part of the other flock. See, the flock. Whoop. But if you are bitching about the tush push, what did you do on every other play to prevent the third and short or fourth and short or goal to go from within the 3 yard line against his team? Jalen is not flashy. Saquon is going to fight for every yard. There's no penetration. Me personally, I think the receiver core is overrated. It is what it is. I think that the receiver core, the receiving core, yes, talented. I think the receiving core gets the ability, or rather the opportunity, to do great because of how well the offensive line plays and also what you have to respect in the backfield with the legs. That's not a knock on the Eagles. I just don't think that the receiving core is something to get excited about. And the Eagles are going to have to see two stud motherfuckers this weekend. Let's call them stud buds, right? I can't copyright that. Whatever. Cool. The Eagles are going to have to deal with two stud buds this weekend. Devontae Adams and Pooks. I call him Pooks. Puka Nakua. Anyone that has to deal with Puka Nakua loses. Fucking monster at his position. Devontae Adams is another fucking monster at his position. Whoever you give the most attention to is going to eat you up on the other side of the ball. You have to respect that receiving duo. We ain't even get to the rest of the receivers room. The duo makes it hard for you to win. In Philly, Brown is a specimen. Creates a lot of discomfort for the DBs. Devontae is a hell of a route runner, and I feel as though he just always feels like he could get to the right spot, right? Not taking that away from him. Just comparing receiver duos. I'm not scared of Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. Never have been, never will be. It's just hard to fathom it. However, most teams are scared of Jalen Hurts. Most teams are scared of Saquon Barkley. Of course, this is not speaking me from experience because I'm not out there. But if I'm watching TV and you guys are watching it as well, ain't nobody sending no real pressure at them boys. They should, but ain't nobody sending no real pressure at them boys. Nobody is on every single play able to win the battle of the trenches against the Philadelphia Eagles and limit the opportunity to have the tush push come into play to beat them. Y'all need to figure it out or keep complaining. I do see referees wanting to call the false start, even to a point where they will call it because they think it's impossible that they have this much success with it. It's the best O line in football. They have arguably the physically strongest person at quarterback taking the snap. They replace their Hall of Fame center with someone that is probably on a Hall of Fame trajectory. That's a cheat code. They have Saquon pushing Jalen Hurts up and over the top whenever it is a little rougher. Whenever it is a little rougher, it is what it is. Sometimes you see Dallas Goddard back there as well. There's a lot of man going up and over the top of that pile and through that pile most of the time, which leads me to believe in the world of leverage that those D linemen are not getting low enough and those D linemen aren't being coached to be able to get below certain players. So, with that in mind, I've given you some solutions. NFL, add the false start to a reviewable portion of your reviews when reviewing those conversions. Defenses, don't get yourself in third and shorts. Don't give up the goal to go. I know it's almost impossible because certain things are inevitable. Come to play every goddamn snap. Play a little harder. Send some pressure. Make Jalen throw the football. Has he shown that he can beat us? Yes, he has. Has he shown enough for you to be scared? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. Let's just be realistic about that. It's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. It's just a knock on what we've seen. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, I put grown me. Look at that. Grown men, please stop bitching about the tush push. But primarily, get in the weight room. It's about 7 p.m. Eastern, my time. This is your cup of Joe. You can catch me a little bit later on tonight. I'll be out there with Boogie. I'll be out there with Trey. We're gonna give you some juice tonight. Tonight. because it's that time of the week again. We got our NFL picks. We have our recaps, which Sunday was a good day for me, but I'll let y'all know later. But like I was saying, please, grown men, stop bitching about the tush push. This is your cup of Joe. Sip slowly, motherfuckers. You're welcome.